A very good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News. We hope you had yourselves a very productive day. Now, top of our head edition, these are headlines. On the second day of the 2023 Africa Investment Forum, Prime Minister Dr. Edward Ngirente expressed that the role of the private sector in the development of the country is crucial. On Thursday, the Speaker of Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Donati Mukabarisa, held discussions with Rabab Fatima, the Under-Secretary General and High Representative for the landlocked developing countries. Once again, we're very glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and I delivering to you this edition is Martina Abera. Now, on the second day of the 2023 Africa Investment Forum, Prime Minister Dr. Edward Ngirente expressed that the role of the private sector in the development of the country is crucial. Hence, the government of Rwanda has created opportunities and ways to facilitate those who want to invest in various sectors that benefit its citizens. Prince Manzi with more in this report.
At the 2023 Africa Investment Forum, there are boardroom sessions where each country showcases investment opportunities available. Here, the Prime Minister, Dr. Edward Ngirente, pointed out that the growth of the country's GDP in the last 10 years has been contributed highly by the private sector, and therefore the government has created a way to facilitate investment both locally and outside the country.
Rwanda has been implementing several policies, institutional and regulatory frameworks to improve its investment environment. And I'll give you just a few examples. For instance, there is an establishment of Financial Intelligence Center coupled with an enactment of policies and laws on investment, insolvency, including the insolvency law, and arbitration, and those are the important steps in facilitating investors and further improving the investment climate. In addition, the government of Rwanda offers both fiscal and non-fiscal incentives to interest investors. The fiscal incentives include, for instance, a 7-year corporate income tax holiday for investors investing more than $50 million in the country. At the same time, there is also a preferential CIT rate of 0% for international companies with their regional headquarters in Rwanda, and that fulfills a certain number of requirements. Some of the non-fiscal incentives we offer to investors include first online business and investment registration, which takes only 6 hours. If you come with a new company in Rwanda, the registration will take only 6 hours. And you don't have to move from an institution to another. You have what you call one-stop center. You knock to one door, everything done. You do that online, but if you have any question, you knock to a door, then everything done in the same room.
The Prime Minister also pointed out that the government of Rwanda has put effort into larger projects needed in the agricultural sector, as 70% of the population rely.
On Thursday, the Speaker of Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Donati Mukabarisa, held discussions with Rabab Fatima, the Under-Secretary General and High Representative for the Landlocked Developing Countries, LLDCs. Discussions focused on the ongoing preparations of the UN Landlocked Developing Countries Conference. Olive Nete with more.
Two officials reiterated on the ongoing preparations of the UN Landlocked Developing Countries Conference. The conference aims to formulate and adopt a renewed framework to address issues facing landlocked developing countries and to strengthen partnerships. Her Excellency Rabab Fatima, the Under-Secretary General and High Representative for the least developed and landlocked developing countries, notes some of the topics to be discussed in the conference.
This is also coming at a time when the world, the landlocked countries in particular, are also grappling with many challenges that comes with landlockedness, starting with COVID, when borders were closed, ports were closed, all the challenges that they face. Now with the many overlapping global crises that the challenges that the landlocked countries are facing, this will be an opportunity to go over what are the main issues, to find solutions, to find recommendations, and to seek partnership with the transit countries, with the partner countries, with the rest of the world to see that the issues and problems and challenges of the landlocked countries are addressed.
On Thursday, while His Excellency Fatima was received by the Speaker of Chamber of Deputies, discussions also focused on assessing the ongoing preparations of this conference, which will be held in Rwanda for the first time.
We are very grateful to President Kagame and the government of Rwanda for offering to host this very important once-in-a-decade conference. Today, with the Honourable Speaker, I had very fruitful discussions. I had met her earlier this year, but this was to discuss about the preparations and organization of the parliamentary forum, which will be held on the sidelines of the conference. Parliamentarians, as you know, have a very, very important role to play, and we want them actually to be very much a part of the conference itself.
Honorable Donatille Mukabalisa, the Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, points out that the conference is beneficial to the population of respective countries involved.
Hari ibimaze gukorwa ariko kubirana n'inteko ishinga amategeko ubu nabyo birimo gutegurwa.
There are some of the steps that have been made already regarding preparations. We also discussed on key points to work on, and what is remaining is to implement them. We expect to learn a lot from the discussions, and the outcomes will benefit our populations. Since we parliamentarians, we contribute to the country's development by setting laws and inspect government activities. That is why we expect to get positive resolution that would benefit the local residents as well. There are currently 32 UN member states that are landlocked. 16 of them are from Africa. The UN Landlocked Developing Countries Conference will be hosted by Rwanda in June 2024, and it is for the first time to be held on the continent. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Oli, for that report. And now, not moving far from that, the Speaker of Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Donatille Mukabalisa, received and held discussions with the Ambassador of Mali to Rwanda, discussions focused on bilateral relations of both parliaments. The Ambassador of Mali to Rwanda, Dianguina Ditiaya Ducour, points out that the discussions aims at strengthening relations between Mali and Rwanda.
Les échanges ont naturellement porté sur l'amitié et la coopération entre les deux pays.
The exchanges naturally focused on the relationship and cooperation between the two countries. We know that political relations between Mali and Rwanda are not subjected to any ambiguity, so at the parliamentary level too, we want to know to what extent the two parliaments can move together and in the path of sovereignty that the heads of state have set, that is to say, the choice of the people. And I can say that the prospects for cooperation in the field of parliamentary diplomacy are for all of us. We all discussed having ways to deepen this. Already, in the very near future, we'll be founding friendship groups in both parliaments.
D'amitié dans les deux parlements. Je crois que c'est très important. Je quitte ici très satisfait.
The Speaker of Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Donatille Mukabalisa, points out that groups to be established aims at following on the implementation of the lessons learned from each other.
Regarding both parliaments, he demonstrated the will of making friendship groups for both parliaments. When we hold such discussions, we aim at learning from each other, and we also discuss on how to implement lessons learned from each other. Not only learning and letting go. What makes us happy is the fact that those who visit us go back and implement lessons learned in their countries.
The Irembo Corporate demonstrates that 125 public services will be digitalized not later than 2024, adding that this will go simultaneously with increasing the number of citizens self-accessing this platform that is currently on 42%. Prince Manzi with more.
Accessing public services on the Irembo platform is common across the country. Nevertheless, there are still a number of citizens consulting agents and some still moving to local administration offices to look for services due to not knowing how to self-access them.
I have the phone, but I don't know how to use it. I don't even know how to pay the community health insurance using my phone.
It is hard for us, and you find someone looking for agents, and yet we might be able to do it for ourselves. Currently, most of the services usually provided at the local administration level are now accessible at Irembo. Nevertheless, if residents can be trained on how to self-access the platform, might be better as explained by Solange Mugwaneza, administrator at the Rusororo sector.
It would be helpful to us, as citizens cannot be running around looking for a service, and second, it would be great if we would find our citizens having all the requirements on time.
Currently, the number of citizens self-accessing the Rainbow platform is on a 42% rate. The Director of Business Development and Partnerships at Irembo, Noela Dushime, demonstrates that there are measurements in place to raise awareness on the usage of this platform.
What we are doing, we are taking our teams and we are going to different places, and we are really being more intentional in teaching citizens how to use our platform, how to apply for services. One is to really demystify the access to government services online. We want people to know that it's very simple. It's something that you can do yourself. That is our aim, that within the coming years, we're able to see the growth up to 80%. Looking at achieving this number by 2025.
The Irembo Corporate demonstrates that 125 public services will be digitalized not later than 2024. This is an addition to the already existing 100-plus services provided by 21 public administrations and entities. In the NST1 goals, the government of Rwanda aims at increasing the digital literacy level from 45% in 2020 to greater than 60% by 2024. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince, for that report. Lecturers and researchers across the world find that there should be programs and policies dedicated to support the sector of research based on the management of natural resources and environmental preservation. This is what was reiterated in the 6th International Conference on Environment, Energy and Development that's taking place here in Kigali. Adam Squizera with more.
Lecturers and researchers gathered in Kigali for the 6th International Conference on the Environment, Energy and Development, which mainly seeks on the practical solutions to address the research responsibility to ensure a sustainable management of natural resources at local, regional, and global levels. These researchers point out that what African continent really needs currently is to cover some of the challenges that are found in this sector of biodiversity and environmental research.
Of getting funds. Of course, we have different boards like FONERA and NCST and others, but you realize that there are some researches which have not yet been prioritized. For example, if you see a research that is being carried out on neglected biodiversity, like amphibians and reptiles, those ones do not outcompete research that focus on livelihoods of community. Yet, there are some information that the country needs still. There are some information that readily the country will use when they want to take decisions and policies, for example, to conserve biodiversity.
The conference also provided a good opportunity to showcase some of the research that has been carried out on the various challenges that exist in the environmental protection activities and what can be done to establish sustainable measures with the compliance of the international principles related to environmental protection and the preservation of natural resources globally. The Dean of the Faculty of Environmental Studies at UNILAC, Dr. Mupenzi Christophe, demonstrates that despite the challenges, there are also practical results that the sector of research has been contributing to the socio-economic growth of the residents, especially in the agriculture sector.
That has been done was done for the purpose of helping or community, giving service to the community. Researches used to be done at universities by scientists, by researchers, by students, but local people don't benefit from the fundings, these fundings from researchers. This research was done for the purpose of going straight to the local people and see the direct impact of the research to the production, agriculture production.
In the UN Biodiversity Conference that took place in Montreal last year in December, Rwanda and Uganda came as the top 4 countries that preserved mountain ecosystems, including volcanoes, which that marked as a milestone that the country has taken in the programs and policies related to the environmental preservation. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Sweden's Norsken Foundation, which is a co-working space and investment fund based in Stockholm, which unveiled its tech fund and entrepreneurship hub in Rwanda, citing the need to support ventures across the region, as it was noted in an exclusive interview with the managing director of Norsken Kigali, Pascal Murasira, had with our colleague Adam Squizera.
Challenges anyway, any endeavor you take. But as entrepreneurs, we prefer to see those challenges as opportunities. So historically, Africa is perceived as a risky area to invest in, but also that is a massive opportunity to anyone who takes that first step. And we have all the factors like from demographics, from the fact that it is an underserved region, that in itself creates opportunities for investors. So in our case, we never really encountered any big challenges.
Sure.
The only challenge, what I can call a challenge, is that when we were starting to build here, COVID fell on us, and the pandemic, of course, had its own consequences from the supply chains, from lockdowns, but still that did not deter us. And so far, the majority of what we are seeing are just opportunities and very few challenges. And we are lucky to be in a country where regulation, the business environment is conducive for investors. So it's mostly opportunities and very little challenges here and there, but that is normal in business.
Well, speaking on the NOSCEN's impact on the Rwandan tech hubs and startups as well, because you even have so many startups here at NOSCEN. What is the impact of NOSCEN Kigali in this tech hub sector and ecosystem as well?
So, of course, we are still a very young organization. That's why you saw yesterday we were actually being officially inaugurated by His Excellency the President of Rwanda. But the majority, the impact we are most proud of are the people. So more than 1,200 people that call this space home. On a typical day, we have between 1,000 and 1,500 people. So not just members, but also the guests, like people that come to events, people that come to network and really get to meet the right people they need to be able to grow and scale their businesses. So that so far has been the biggest impact, followed by the fact that we are seeing more capital coming into entrepreneurs. We were checking the numbers recently. This year, the members at NOSCEN have been able to raise more than 40 billion francs, so about $35 million. And that's something we're very proud of, because even though like globally capital is becoming more difficult to access, but in Rwanda we're actually seeing a positive trend, which is something that we are very proud to have contributed to one way or another.
Interesting, and this got me to this question. Can you please share some success stories of NOSCEN supported startups, if you have any?
Of course, there are some that are not. I'm not allowed to announce publicly, because that's up to entrepreneurs. But we have some that have already been announced. For example, we have a company that recently raised $18 million. They are mostly active in the Great Lakes region. We have even in the younger startups that were founded 1-2 years ago that have raised more than $1 million in funding. So these are very encouraging entrepreneurial ventures that are based here. And some of those entrepreneurs were able yesterday to meet His Excellency the President of Rwanda and share some of their journeys, like how did they develop from the time they arrived here until the time until now, and also what the plans are for the future, which is all quite exciting. Of course, we have some others that are still quite young, they're just at the idea stage, and we're very proud to have members here, organizations based here at NOSCEN that can support entrepreneurs from that stage, like when you just have an idea to when you're raising millions of dollars.
Well, before concluding this discussion with the Managing Director of NOSCEN Kigali, Pascal, how is NOSCEN Kigali is now working to bridge the gap between the tech ecosystem here in Rwanda and wider the country's economy as well?
Well, simply saying, it's all about access to capital. So the infrastructure is good, it's helpful, it's having its own impact, but ultimately the end goal is to have more investors coming to support the entrepreneurs here. Because we have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of young people with brilliant ideas, but without capital, it's hard for them to implement those ideas and to scale them. So the gap we're trying to bridge is on access to capital for entrepreneurs.
Last question. What are your thoughts on the future of technology on this continent, particularly, let's say, here in Rwanda?
So my dream is to see Kigali becoming the place where African tech meets. Like as part of what you can see today with the North Kenya Africa Week, we're having entrepreneurs from all over the continent meeting investors from all over the world. So we hope that this is something that we can continue to do, not just as North Kenya, but more as an ecosystem, as Kigali, as the country. But also hope to see more successful entrepreneurs that build businesses and become big, and also they become investors later when they start having better, more wealth.
Yeah. Yes, that was Pascal Marcel, who was with us in tonight's news bulletin, and we hope he explored more on this North Kenya Kigali house, which was inaugurated yesterday. As I started saying, it was graced by His Excellency Paul Kagame. Then, Marcel, I will say thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Adam Squizera, for that interview. Now, Rwanda is going to provide quality labels for organic agriculture products, something that has been well received by farmers, but they request that these labels be accepted at the international level so the agricultural products exported are valuable. We have more on this report. That the original agricultural practices, which many often call traditional, is one that does not use chemicals and fertilizers but still uses modern technology and science. In Rwanda, there is no law that determines original agricultural practices, which means that those who need quality labels related to it work with international companies, which they say is very expensive for them.
We invest almost 30 million Rwandan francs every year, and we also have various certificates in the cultivation of coffee. However, we receive the returns of the money we normally invest because we make at least 40% of the production of the coffee we sell that has organic quality labels. And when you look at the international market, the coffee prices are low. So you find that our prices are twice that of the international market.
Cooperatives of coffee, tea, and pineapple farmers often work with international companies in agriculture today. Companies and industries that need this product send technicians to monitor the agricultural work day by day until the product is available. The head of the Rwandan organic agriculture movement, Alice Chantal Dusabe, insists that the introduction of quality labels in the country would increase the number of organic farmers.
In our
agricultural politics, there is not much about original agricultural practices, not even in the schools. Another thing is that not enough research is done to show that some agricultural practices can feed the citizens. There is also the fact that some farmers still lack knowledge to attain what the market requires of them. Those are some of the issues that we currently face. Nonetheless, we also have a lot to celebrate, like the fact that the food that comes from original agricultural practices is preferred a lot in the country and on the international market. Director General of Rwanda Standards Board, RSB, Murenzi Raymond, explains that after increasing the knowledge of the agency's team responsible for conducting inspections on original agricultural practices, now anytime you need a quality label, it will be given to you.
Right now we are able to give the labels out because there are those who produce honey that we certified. It is evident that there are others looking for those services, so we are here to inform the public that the services are available and are being given by RSP. There is hope that there will be growth because various hotels and supermarkets require such services from us. The trust between the farmers and the buyers needs to be built, and government officials have a role to play in this.
2,130 hectares, which is 0.1% of all cultivated land in Rwanda, is used for original agriculture practices in a professional manner, and its production is exported outside the country. The introduction of quality labels in Rwanda can increase the number of investors, and their productivity will increase. The Chief of General Staff of Burkina Faso Armed Forces, Brigadier General Celestin Simore, and his delegation are in Rwanda for an official visit from the 9th to 11th November 2023. This afternoon, he visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial and paid respects to the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, and also visited the Campaign Against Genocide Museum at Parliament Building. On Friday, 10th November 2023, the CGS will visit RDF headquarters and meet with Honorable Minister of Defense Juvenal Marizamunda and the RDF Chief of Defense Staff Lieutenant General MK Mubarak to discuss ways of strengthening cooperation with Rwanda Defense Force. The Burkina Faso Armed Forces delegation will also visit and receive a briefing on selected defense facilities and welfare schemes, including Zigama CSS, Military Medical Insurance, Armed Forces Shop. He will also visit Rwanda Military Academy Gako as one of the defense schools on his schedule. And on behalf of the news production team and I, we would like to thank you very much for sticking with us on RTV News. Delivering to you the news is Martina Avera. Stay safe and have a great night.